What's up, rockers?
I'm Kaz.
And I'm Shay, and welcome to another episode of For the Record with Kaz and Shay. Kaz, it's good to see you. We're back in your house, your comfy abode. What are we going to be talking about today?
Well, a few weeks ago, you guys may have seen the episode we did where we interviewed our first band, Bad Cop. And
That was a killer episode, my favorite of the show so far, because we talked to an actual, real, live rock and roll band.
we could touch them, and they would make a noise if we did.
Well, yes.
They were great.
You never do that when I touch you.
So anyhow, at that episode, at the end, we posed them 5 questions, and we decided, you know what, we're going to take one of those questions, our own, and make it an episode of it. We had the question, if your house is burning down, what 5 albums do you run in and grab? But we decided to give ourselves 6.
Yeah, I think we only asked them which one album that they would grab.
Right.
But maybe we're more resourceful in an emergency situation. We think we would have the ability to get 6 records.
Right, because I alphabetize. You can see all the tabs here.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to have just a section. These are the albums that I want in a fire. You gotta, can you go through those and get them out? 6?
Yeah.
Okay, you're good.
You would never know it by
You're really, really good.
pre-filming, but
yes.
There was a couple I had to scrounge for that were out of order.
So we did not bring 1 album. We did not bring 5 albums.
We brought 6.
We each brought 6. These are our 6. I don't know if they're our favorites, but they are kind of our
essentials.
They are essential albums.
Essentials. You know, like when COVID hit, everybody had to have their water and toilet paper.
Toilet paper is overrated.
It is.
You know, you've got some nice trees around here. Good broad leaves.
Good leaves.
Yeah, good leaves. Those work anytime.
They're awesome.
We're going to be talking about 6 albums, a little bit about them, and then playing a song from each album. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, just to kind of show, within our collection. I mean, granted, we don't have every album that we wish we did, because as we'll go over some of these albums anymore.
But I tell you, it was pretty hard because you have probably 3 times the amount of albums. I'm about 500 albums. How many do you have?
About 1,200.
And so going through those records and finding your 6 best was actually really hard.
It's hard.
I was I have 50 to 100 that I consider my favorites, but we nailed them down to 6. Let's start it. What's the first album that you brought to the table?
Well, I'm going to go to this 1969 classic. You could pick really any of theirs, but I'm going to go with Led Zeppelin 2. Mm-hmm. Great album. It was kind of a cool album. It's back in 1999. It was certified diamond, sold over 12 million 23 years ago.
Uh-huh.
It's my, I love Houses of Holy. I love physical graffiti, but I guess, like you say, if you only had 6 albums, one's going to be a Zeppelin album. Mm-hmm. And I picked Led Zeppelin 2. It's just kind of one of these albums where Jimmy Page did all the writing and producing on this one, and they kind of were such a busy year that they recorded this both in the UK and in the States, just randomly, different studios. So it was kind of like they didn't go in the studio all at once to record this album. It was kind of everywhere, and it's a gem regardless.
Yeah, it is.
So it's, but I'm going to have to say, album number 1 for me, I'm going to take Led Zeppelin 2.
You going to play a song from there?
Kelsie, hit something.
You going to do your table drumming? Are you going to do your John Bonham table drumming?
No. A little pattern.
Mm-hmm. I didn't want to duplicate any of your bands or your albums, obviously. I would have had Physical Graffiti on here. I love that album. I mean, all the Led Zeppelin albums are so good. God, what a band.
So what do you got, bud? What's your first?
So my first is Jane's Addiction, Ritual de lo Habitual, 1991, their 3rd album. They did that live self-titled album, which I don't have, and then Nothing Shocking in 1988, which could easily be on my list. But when I heard the song Stop, that was really a watershed moment for me, because I was listening to so much R&B and hip-hop at the time. I was really pretty siloed, where I would only listen to one genre of music for an entire year or more. And so hearing this was the start of, holy shit, this is so good. I can kind of listen to more. And I remember I bought cassette singles?
Yes.
I bought the cassette single for me and the girl I was dating at the time and gave it, and you have to hear this. This is just such a great album. songs are just weird and wonderful, and there's great percussion, and everybody's just kicking ass on this album. And, Stop and Been Caught Stealing is on that. But
I like 3 days.
Well, funny you should say that. I mean, that's probably one of my top 5 songs of all time, clocking in at a whopping 11 minutes. It's so good. And so I love this album, and Kelsey's going to play a bit of 3 days, which I love so much. Dave Navarro, maybe the world's prettiest man, but he just slays on this track. So much great guitar. That's really good. Have you seen them? You've probably seen them live.
I saw them at the very first Lollapalooza. It was one of their last shows they did with the original lineup.
Yeah.
And it was raining all day. I remember it was like, from what the original lineup was supposed to be and what the first Lollapalooza ended up, it was way different. But I saw the Butthole Surfers on that bill, Susie and the Banshee, Ice-T and Body Count were on it by then. But 9 Inch Nails were originally supposed to be on it, but they had bailed out by the end. But it was well worth it just to watch it.
Yeah, so this is, I didn't see them until like 2015. I waited a long time to see them, and it's one of the few concerts that I went to without you. Broke my freaking heart, but it was an amazing show. I was like 10 feet away from Dave, and I couldn't take my eyes off him. He's just so, he's like you on stage, shirtless, playing a guitar. That's how I see you.
That's why I keep my shirt on, though.
Yeah.
So.
What do you got next?
Well, I've got 1971, the very first album from ZZ Top. And I just love this album so much. And again, like their first 5 albums are so stellar. Like you could put these on, I could put on this first album to most of my house guests that aren't really familiar with the early ZZ Top, and they won't know it's ZZ Top because it was like just such a gritty blues. Like the song Brown Sugar just is amazing, just kind of between where like Billy Gibbons blues style rock is just takes the stage, and then like if you want to like hear him really do the blues, like the song Old Man, it's just great. But this has definitely started off such a great run of like the first 5 albums with this band. And like I said, ZZ Top's been one of my favorite for years, big Billy Gibbons fan, and this kind of has all his guitar work that's kind of just, it blows my mind.
Are you surprised they're still playing music once Dusty passed?
Yeah, I was kind of bummed out about that.
Yeah.
You know, I wish they wouldn't have called it ZZ Top. He could have done like Billy Gibbons.
Yeah.
Like we saw him at one time. Just go call it Billy Gibbons. Go.
Yeah, but what a band.
They're great. But yeah, like Brown Sugar, that gives you all you need.
All right. Give us all we need, Kelsie.
My friends, they all told me, yeah, man, that's something gonna change your life. My friends, they all told me, man, that's something gonna change your life.
Just a slow burn on this one.
Amazing.
Gotta have brown sugar.
So good.
Yeah, I mean, that's as good as it gets right there. Speaking of as good as it gets, I would have thought that there would have been a Lanigan solo album on here. But when I was going through my albums, I realized that I play Screaming Trees' Sweet Oblivion kind of more than any of his solo albums. It's so gosh damn good. What's this, like their 5th or 6th albums? They had a bunch of albums before this that really never really gained real traction. It wasn't until this album. They were on the singles soundtrack, right?
Right.
And like I could list every single song on here. They're all so good. I mean, Shadow of the Season, Nearly Lost You, Dollar Bill, Secret Kind, Winter Song. But the one that I play all the time is Julie Paradise. You know, I've always had this fantasy of writing a movie. You know, I've got some writing skills. I'm a creative guy. If I had a movie, in the soundtrack would be this song, Julie Paradise. I love it so much. And Kelsie, I'd love you to play it for everyone so they can hear it if they don't know it.
Mother cried.
stop singing. Don't sing. Remind me not to sing.
Don't do it.
Don't sing it. I mean, yeah. So I this is exciting because we sort of talked about this. We just wanted to not duplicate anything, but I really don't remember what you're doing next. So surprise me.
One of my.
Oh, geez. This is an album I could have definitely had on there.
I know, this was what him and I both debated, man. Who's taking the Turbo Negro album? Turbo Negro, if you guys haven't been exposed to these guys, are just rock and roll.
Scandinavian death punk? I mean,
the death punk.
Yeah.
And this is their first album with Euroboy as the guitar player, and kind of went more of a little different style, not as hard as punk, but this is... they're so cool because they mimic a lot of other songs and within their songs, and it's like, oh my God, I know that. But then like this album here, Apocalypse Dudes, though, is just, if you guys want just a rock album, I don't think it really does get better than this, and this is why I'm picking Turbo Negro. Like in my house, burning up. This album is coming with me.
Great cover, and then show that's Hank on the back, shirtless and sweaty.
Shirtless and sweaty.
Yep.
And this actually came with a big poster, but they had the cool Hank's eyes. But they were great, but their stage presence, I saw them live both with Hank and with the new singer, and absolutely mind blowing. Like if you just want good rock, Kelsie, why don't you give them a little bit of Get It On?
Super Suckers covered this, right?
Yeah, they did. They did this version.
Yeah, I love that band. I mean, I didn't see him with Hank ever. Rest in peace, Hank.
Yes.
But when we saw them at Punk Rock Bowling in Vegas,
That was
so good. I was.
They're showmen. I mean, it's theatrical. It's cool.
It's cool, yeah. And I love the Turbo Jugend guys. I mean,
they're all over.
The sailor hats. I love the whole thing.
And like I said, even their last album, Rock and Roll Machine, to me, I got so hooked on that album. It's not as heavy as their other ones, a little more keyboard, but God, catchy.
Very catchy.
Album.
Very catchy.
Very good.
So speaking of catchy albums,
yes.
So this album, The Descendants, Everything Sucks. So this is probably their fifth album, and this came out in 1996. What was kind of weird is they recorded 5 albums with Milo, and then he left and went to college, to be a biochemist. And this was their first album after he'd been out of the band for 9 years. And it's just great. It's so melodic. It's just great punk rock. Everything Sucks. I'm the One is maybe their best song of all time.
It's catchy.
And they've got the song Coffee Mug, which is one of my favorite short songs. It's about 30 seconds, but it's just a great short punk rock song. And when I get old, I listen to that now. And I am old, and so all the things that they're talking about, hey, I can still do that. I can still do that. So I love this album so much. And the song that I like the most from that is called We. It's a punk rock love song, and I love it. So Kelsie, if you wouldn't mind, play a little bit of that for us. Had you seen them before we saw them? It was 2015 at the Neptune Theater.
Yeah, I saw them in 1996 at the Warped Tour.
Oh, so you probably saw them touring this.
Yeah.
But I remember that Neptune show. That was the only band that allows stage diving.
God, and that was nonstop.
And it was just people. Well, it was a combination of holy shit! I can't believe that guy just somersaulted 2 or.
Yeah, it was watching these like a gymnastics event.
That was pretty impressive. I don't fear for my life at punk rock shows very often, but I'm like, I'm going to move a little bit back from where the people were landing.
Yeah.
Because there were people our size, not that we're the biggest guys in the world, that they were doing full-on dives into a crowd and landing on very tiny people. That didn't look fun. That didn't look
not
fun.
at all. And I don't condone that type of like allowing that. Like we've had friends that got hurt from that
Oh,
stuff.
geez, that's right.
And but my next one, so it's like when you have every fucking Stones album and you can only take one, I guess you just got to shortcut it and just take the hot rocks.
You went the easy way out, but I think a lot of people love this album.
I had like Sticky Fingers, I had Beggar's Banquet, I had Some Girls, I had Exile on Main Street.
Goat's Head Soup?
Wow, yes.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, it just had to go. I guess you can't always get what you want, right, Kels? So I had to pick at least just the hot rocks to get the biggest compilation of them I could. If my house was on fire and I could only grab one Stones album. So...
And of all the songs that you could play on that album, what are you going to play?
You can't always get what you want.
Wow, nice reference.
That was kind of like the whole thing. It's like my reference to like only having to grab one Stones album. Mm-hmm. So that was it.
You can't always get what you want. You can't always get.
I don't know why I hear this song and I immediately think of The Big Chill, because I think this is the song that plays over the start of that movie,
And then
funeral scene.
Your parents watched bought it on VHS.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, they did. Every parent's VHS collection. I just love the Stones, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's a must. But I did not have them on my list. But who I do have on my list is, for the longest time, Queens of the Stone Age was the band that I told everybody that was my favorite band. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's still the same. I think NoFX has overtaken them, but I still love Queens of the Stone Age. And this is their third album, Songs for the Deaf. And I think when you talk to people about lineups of Queens of the Stone Age, they've had a lot of members coming in and out. This is the classic lineup. So people that don't know music maybe as well probably don't know that Dave Grohl plays drums on this album.
Right.
So the Foo Fighters were kind of going through a little bit of growing pains and maybe some internal strife, and he and Josh are really good friends. So he plays the drums on this album, and it's Mark Lanegan is heavily featured. Now, I wish we had a crack. Kelsie, are you good at research? Are you our crack researcher? This album, I don't know how many songs there are in there, 15 songs, but there's songs by 3 different singers. Nick has 3 or 4 songs on this album that he sings. Lanegan has 4 songs that he sings, and obviously Josh. And so I think that's extremely rare. And every song by every singer is just unique and so awesome.
Right.
And so from Millionaire to Hanging Tree, and God dang, it's great. And you know what? I'm 50 years old, and I can't remember what song I told you to play because I'm old. But I know whatever you play is going to rock. It's going to be my favorite song. So let's hear it.
It's soft love that would poison you out. Come closer, racing to your town. I got what burns. I want to take what's left. Love talk.
God, I would have. This came out when I wasn't really going to see shows. So if I could have seen any other Queens of the Stone Age show from the past, it would have been something from this tour. It's probably incredible. Lots of videos of Dave Grohl drumming that are very popular right now, and I'm seeing them all the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Speaking of Lanegan, I'm going with the solo one, which is kind of not one that most people would probably pick. I'm going with the Houston Publishing demos from 2002. This was a
great
really,
one, yeah.
really kind of showcase his voice, and under the circumstances in which he recorded this, he was totally unprepared for this album. Went into Houston to fulfill a contractual obligation with Randall Jamail, who's produced albums for Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, Chris Christopherson, Jesse Dayton, the Super Suckers. And Lanigan went in this thing with no lyrics, nothing, wrote most of them out in the parking lot, but knowing that he was going in with Randall Jamail, and his backing band was Ian Moore on guitar and Mickey Raphael, Willie Nelson's harmonica player.
Oh, you know Mickey, yeah.
He had to bring his A game, and it was just... they shouldn't really call them demos because it's just such a beautiful album with, it's kind of more of a muted with a band that really puts Mark's voice up into the front. And it's just so beautiful to showcase that cool voice that he had. And this is like one of my favorite albums, like front to back of Lanigan's. It's just great. Houston Publishing Demos. Give it a go, Kels.
When it's in you, you won't leave us living so soon. When it's in you.
That is a really good album. Mark was nice enough to sign that album for me, and that hangs on the walls of my home. I love it so much. And like I said, I was really surprised that I didn't have a Lanigan solo album on
this is the one, like, when people start a record collection, and I'll, like, take someone to the record store, and it's like, you want this one?
That's the one, huh?
Yeah. Goes good with wine.
So the majority of the albums that I have on my list, I'd say, are probably 1990 and newer, except for this one. And this is the only one that was played in my childhood home, but it's an amazing album. It's Stevie Wonder's Songs in the Key of Life.
And I don't care what genre of music. If you have a record collection, this has to be in it. I mean, it's record collection is never complete without this album. There's certain ones you have to have, and this is it.
And so this, Stevie Wonder had been around for a long time. I think this is maybe like his 15th, 16th album, but this is, I think they call it his classic period, because this was the third of 3 straight Grammy-winning albums of the year. And so every single song, if you don't know this album, you actually do know this album, because you've heard all these songs. Not only have you heard Stevie singing, so many people sample this album. So you've heard probably everything on here. I mean, the album is so good. I mean, I could read every single song again, and they're all classic. And this one came with a 4-song EP, which I didn't have for the longest time. I found it in a record store amongst 45s, and I was so happy to get it. I don't know if I should pull it out there, but it's in there somewhere. And the song that I'm playing is off that 4-song EP, which is called Saturn. So let's hear that.
Going back to Saturn, where the rings all glow. Rainbow moonbeams with orange snow on Saturn. People live to be 205. Going back to Saturn, where the people smile.
So you have this album.
Yes, I do.
Do you have the 4-song EP? Because
You
it
know,
didn't come with every album.
No, I'll look inside.
So
I'm too lazy to dig it out.
I know, but I didn't. I didn't always know about that EP, and then I somehow was. I don't know why I was looking up Stevie Wonder and reading about him. Like, oh crap, this is something I need, and I found it, and it's great.
Like
I love
a
that
box
song.
of Cracker Jacks.
It's a box.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this, I think, is this going to be your last album?
This is my last one, and The Clash, London Calling. Again, this is, if you're starting a collection, this has to be in there.
Yeah, and so the one thing that I know about this album is there's an Elvis album that this is sort of a takeoff of.
Right,
I can't
exactly,
remember the
cover.
Elvis album now, but
One of the most iconic album covers ever. I just love it, too, because it's not totally in focus. It's a little bit blurry, but it's just...
that's
shows
Paul, right?
Everything, yeah. And it's just like... It's such a great album. It's hard to explain how good this album is, but this was their third album after Given Enough Rope, and then it's kind of where they kind of went with a little more, exploring more like a little bit of the reggae backbeats and stuff, as opposed to more of the punk rock side. But London Calling, tough one to top, very tough.
Fought the singing there. Did you hear me sing?
Yeah.
Okay. And nice sweatshirt, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I haven't mentioned this.
Yeah.
You know, Brian was in Cleveland pretty recently, and had lots of adventures on that trip.
Yeah, lots
but
of
he's still,
hospital time.
No, we don't even have to mention that. But I just want to you had a lot of stuff going on, and you still managed to bring me.
I had one day out of the hospital, and I managed to get you a hoodie.
Yeah, you're so sweet. Isn't this guy the sweetest? Can I just want pictures? I love this guy. So my album, my last album is probably the toughest one that I had to choose, because I mentioned earlier Queens of the Stone Age has always been my favorite band, and then it went over to Lanigan for a bit, but now it's NoFX, and I think I'm going to stay with NoFX. They have so many albums, and I have, I think, 16 or 17 of their albums. 10 studio albums, a live album, compilations, EPs. And I'm like, how the hell am I going to pick one of those? Because it really changes from almost week to week of which NoFX album is my favorite. You know, Punk in Drublic and Self-Entitled and Wolves in Wolf's Clothing and War on Airism and So Long and Thanks for All the Shoes. And they can keep going and going and going.
Nonstop. And they even have like a greatest hits one, which I have too, which is great. That was like a great introduction to learn that band. It had just all the great songs. Like my favorite song is Bob. Oh, Bob,
yep. And so this is an EP of a single song called The Decline. And we were talking about Jane's Addiction and how 3 Days is almost an 11-minute song.
Right.
That's nothing compared to this, because this is an 18-minute punk rock masterpiece. And I've had this album for a long time, but I really got back into it when we went to Denver. We saw NoFX, at the Punk and Drublic show there. And then 2 days later, when we went to Red Rocks, I'm like, oh, shoot, they have a live version of The Decline that was recorded at Red Rocks, which made me go back and listen to this. And I have not stopped listening to this for almost the 2 or 2.5 months we've been back. If you just think of your favorite bands and everything that you like about that favorite band, and you put it all in one song, this is it for me. The Decline. It's just the greatest song that I know, and I love it so much. So, Kelsie, if you would, play a little bit of that.
Where are all the stupid people from? And how they get to be so dumb? Red on purple mountain range, feet over waves of grains.
I could sing this really well, I think. No.
By yourself and no one around.
Yes.
Yeah, I can do that.
In the car. I sing this so good in the car, and I know that passing cars are like, oh my God, that guy's such a good singer. I want to be in the car with that guy.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, that about wraps up. I mean, that's like 6 albums of each that we couldn't live without, basically.
Yeah, and, we are vinyl enthusiasts. We have, I know there's people out there that have thousands and thousands of records and make our record collections look small, but we have a lot of records. We love our records, and so we can do so many episodes on just records that we like from different time periods, different styles of music or anything. But I like these episodes because they're very personal to you and I, and we get to really explain why we like these albums and why we like these bands so much.
Right. So. People that watch this too probably have, I'd take Zeppelin's first album or House of the Holy. And
right.
Kind of what's nice. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. It's what you like.
No, you are absolutely right. And maybe if somebody would put a comment and say, "Oh, this is my favorite album," or "You're dumb, you're stupid," you know.
Well, that's always happening to us, but we don't care.
No, I do care. It hurts. Words hurt. I'm a sensitive guy.
Oh no, come on, you'll get over it.
No, okay.
You'll get over it.
Well,
I mean, like I said, if the fire starts in a different room, we have a chance for 6 more. Maybe we'll do another episode.
We could do that. We could do it. Well, I think one of the great things about this show is this is our show.
Right.
We just talk about things that we like. We hope that other people are going to like it as well.
Give us some input. Tell us what you guys would want to hear us do.
Yeah, tell them. Look right in the camera and
we
say,
don't care.
Give us input.
Do it.
Damn it, just do it. Challenge us. Come on.
Yeah, we like ideas. We like talking about stuff like that. We like anything that has to talk about with music.
Yeah, I think we're going to do a show pretty soon about the books that we like to read about music, right?
Oh, shit, and you know what weird thing we're talking about Lanigan today? His old guitarist, Jeff Fielder, and his wife just had their first baby.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Jeff Fielder.
Yes, I
forgot
do you
that.
think they'll let us babysit?
No?
I
highly doubt it.
Does anybody let you babysit? I have kids. I think people would trust me with kids.
Yeah, they do.
How many kids do you have that you don't know about? Just.
I don't have any that I know about. I have college funds saved up in case. But
You're smart. One day, you're going to get a knock on that door over there, and someone's going to show up and like, here. This belongs to you. I'm done.
He'll be 30 years old. Mom kicked me out. Said that you're the dad. I get to move in.
Well, hopefully he likes good music. He'll fit right in. Yeah. All right, let's wrap this son of a bitch up. Let's do it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, anyhow, I'm Kaz.
And I'm Shay, and thanks for watching another top quality episode of For the Record with Kaz and Shay. And of course, we got to thank Kelsie, who's back there. Our friend Trish is back there. Live studio audience, we got it.
We got the first one.
Yeah, so see y'all. And I just want to say, because people have said this is the cutest part, I love you, Kaz. I love you.
I love you, John Boy.
Look me right in the eyes and say it. I hope I have, yes. All right. We'll see y'all next time.
All right, thank you.
Bye.